best jokes and yarns before we press record. We've got to stop doing this, bro. We really do.
What were you comparing me to Izzy?
Well, you were comparing you to Izzy. I wasn't comparing you to Izzy. Talking about your walkout. Oh, I'm like Izzy. It'll take 20 minutes. Fuck off, cunt.
Is he limping?
Is he limping? Is he old?
Is he breathing?
Is he wheezing?
Your mic's in your face.
Oh, right. Mike's on my face, eh? Yeah. And yours is on, so just talk.
Anywho. Anyone would
Yeah,
think
so while we're on the chat of the Podcast Royale coming up 2 weeks.
it is 2 weeks away.
It's fucking you get nervous or what? 2 weeks.
Not really. I literally can't even see what's coming. So why would I be nervous?
Wait. Oh, look at that. You didn't see that one.
I wouldn't have. And I'm not going to see it. All right.
Yeah, because even Quentin can't see what's coming because he's dodging me at training lately.
Oh, is that what
Since
it
he
is?
perforated my eardrum.
Is that what it is? Yeah.
So
Cool story, bro.
So everyone, that's Joy. I'm Chaz. Quentin's at the back there.
Howdy.
And welcome back to the Pub Ammo podcast,
Yes.
where we will fill your ears with useless information. Absolutely useless.
We're going to copiously fill them to the brim.
Copiously?
Copiously.
Yeah, that's the way.
Brought to you by Poets Beer.
Poets Beer, yeah.
Hey, so-
And we sent out for some acronyms, over the last couple of weeks for poets, because
So-
piss off early,
Piss off Polly.
poly off. He's gone racial already, far
Piss
out.
off early. Tomorrow's
Saturday.
Saturday. That's what.
Or Sunday if you're drinking on a Saturday. But one of our listeners, Hambone.
Our legions.
Hambone, one of our legion of fans. Hambone sent in a couple of real good ones.
On your Hambone.
Here's one for you. Pull out every time, stupid. Relevant. Completely irrelevant. Pussy only ever tastes sweet. Could also be sour. You know what I'm saying? Yeasty doesn't work.
Yeasty.
That'd be poety.
Zesty.
Zesty. Yeah. A pus on each testicle sucks.
Someone had a lot of time to himself.
I like it.
Yeah, on your ham bones.
What's crack-a-lackin'? What's new? What's going on?
We've got a bit on.
Got a bit on?
We say that every week.
Well, there's always...
When we get on here, I haven't got much on.
but there's always something going on.
Yeah, there is.
It is. It just doesn't let up at the moment.
Yeah, I haven't had any B doubles visit us,
Hey, that's a good start.
but we actually got a bit of a ending to one B double
did ya?
saga. Yeah,
What was the ending? What happened?
they come.
I
and
love a happy ending.
They come and delivered a few cartons of piss and said sorry.
Oh, true. Now, okay, but for which B double was this?
The first one.
Oh,
was
6 months
that was
later?
only 6 months ago. Yeah,
It was only 6 months ago.
6 months ago.
Oh, well, look, better late than never, I
Yeah.
suppose.
Yeah, I still haven't got a mailbox, but apparently that's...
No, you don't. Actually.
Oh, well, I do. It looks like a gravestone, my new one. It's a flash one, the new one.
It's a tribute to the first one.
R.I.P.
You
first
should
box.
Here
put a
lays
little,
the
yeah,
first
that's
mailbox.
exactly right. Put a cross on the bottom of it, some bunches of flowers. Everyone that comes to your house is going to be like, who died on
up
the driveway? Yeah, what happened?
It actually, but it's one of those letterboxes where you can, if you get stuff delivered, you can actually, turn this knob on it and you pull it out and you can drop it in there. And when you push it back in, it drops into another slot. So people can't steal your mail. If you're getting like expensive stuff delivered, it'll drop down into this lockbox.
For real?
Yeah.
That's a bit.
Have a look at it on the way out.
That's a bit fancy.
I think it drops into the grave.
Drops into the tomb below.
He walks out with his shovel at the end of the month.
Yeah. Digs it out. It's a treasure hunt. We don't even have a friggin' mailbox. But that's
got a female
the
one.
part that pisses me off about where we live, right? I am literally 4.5 kilometres from the dead centre of town. And yet, on a dirt road, on septic, don't get mail delivery. Like, it's not like we're living in the Wops. There's people that are much further out than us.
Yeah.
Like, they actually have to go past us
Past
to
you.
get to the next
Yeah.
suburb to deliver mail down there. But they don't stop in between.
You got that crazy
Anyway.
gravel road
Don't get me started.
to the Royale.
Yeah. It's just a gravel road to get home.
So did we keep talking? We didn't talk too much about the Royale. We spoke about it a little bit and we dodged it.
Oh, and then yeah. So 22 weeks, 26th.
Yep, 26th of
April.
April.
Gold
Tickets
Coast.
still available.
Gold Coast Exhibition and
I
Entertainment
think
Centre.
the after party, there still could be a couple of tickets floating around for that too.
Which is at the casino?
Yeah, and it's actually in a real big room, and they will all be in there and having it be on the piss with us, and it's spirits as well. So
Oos.
think of like 3 or 4 hours of spirits.
And
It will lift your spirit.
now also too, on the following day, we were talking about this earlier, on the Sunday, was there something planned on the Sunday? Was everyone catching up?
I think, we're all going to catch up somewhere at a pub. I think the Broad Beach Tavern's got a bit going on.
Broad Beach
I
Hotel?
think they're going to be the sort of unofficial official sponsor of the whole thing. So if
So if you just want to come down, meet us in the Dunnies, spike our drink, whatever you're keen for. Spike our drink first, and then we'll meet you in the Dunnies.
it will be more funny.
It could be. I'll bring a hole saw for the glory hole. We'll make our own.
You use a skewer.
Giant Taswazia.
Both sides.
Get this.
With docking.
Anyway, it's degenerated to there already.
There. So we I thought of a new segment. If anyone wants to add to it, they can add to it in any way. You can leave a voicemail or anything like that on our Instagram, or send it into thepubmo@gmail.com. Just a voice message. You just can do it on your phone. But this one's called Taxi Yarn Confessional.
Oh, fuck.
So being being in North Queensland, and everyone sort of lives out of town a little bit, so there's always nice long taxi rides. So everyone's got a bit of a yarn about stuff. I've got like probably 3 here I could probably have a chat about. The first one's a pretty light one. Every time we used to come home from, me and my missus, we don't go out and party too much, but when we go to like the races or something, we pay that $50 to $100 to get a fucking taxi home that goes 10K.
Is that what it costs?
Fucking, it's
Are
up
you
there, isn't it?
serious?
Yeah.
Far out.
After you waited 5 hours for it as well.
Yeah.
And then you get some drunk walks out and is like, yeah, my name's, who's it for? John. Yeah, I'm John.
Yeah, straight in the cab,
Yeah,
gone.
boom.
Yeah.
Everyone wants to kill him.
Yeah.
But and then John's got to order another taxi because his taxi's taken.
Yeah.
That's the other part. That's a pain in the fucking ass. But so we walked out, jumped in the taxi, and at my driveway, you drive down it when you come here.
Yep.
At the bottom, it's a nice little steep little wedge at the bottom.
Ditch.
A ditch.
That's what it is.
I made it as a ditch, so when it floods, the water runs around there instead of taking out the actual drains.
Yeah, makes sense.
So I'll put that little ditch through there. But the taxis, late at night, I don't know, locally, they all want to drive 20 Ks over the limit.
Yeah,
you notice that? They just
Yeah.
want to rush you home and rush so they can get back and rush and rush. They know where the cops are. They know where everything is.
And they don't charge you any less.
No.
No.
So you're getting rushed home, and always at the top of the hill, we both always just dig each other in the ribs like, watch this. And fuck, mate, these taxis just fly down that hill and bang, and we and hit that ditch, and usually just the car just flies through the fucking air and goes all over the shop. And then they always turn and up us and say, "Why didn't you tell us?" And I'm like, "Well, why didn't you drive slow?"
Yeah, drive to the conditions.
And so we're always just doing it. And then one day this taxi come flying down. That was a maxi taxi. Come flying down there, hit it, boom. And all I hear is dunk dunk on the front wheels, dunk dunk on the back. His bumper just disappeared.
Did he rip his bumper off? Did he? That's awesome.
Yeah. And he's like, "What didn't you not tell me?" I don't know. That's Aussie fella. That's because he had a lollipop in his mouth
Is that what it was?
when he hit the
Oh, yeah.
windscreen.
And I suppose it was a tandoori flavoured lollipop too, bro.
You taste those. Can you talk with a lollipop in your mouth? You talk like this.
Anyway, that's on you, that one.
So yeah, he got to the top and he's like, "Why didn't you not top?" Sucking on the lollipop.
Yeah.
and then I'm like, "Well, you should have drove the conditions, mate." He's like, "Yeah, okay." So that was my gully taxi. Yeah.
Gully taxi.
Yarn. Gully taxi yarn.
Yeah, all right.
Have you got one?
Yeah, I have actually. I got a real good one. So this is from years ago when me and all my rugby mates were partying up in Cairns, and we'd finished up for the night. And same thing, like 3-4 o'clock in the morning when you're trying to get a cab, it's impossible. And we'd been walking around for a good 45 minutes trying to get a cab, and we just couldn't get one. And we ended up down near this particular nightclub, which was on the kind of the tail end of town. That Playpen? Yeah. And just across the road, there's that car park, or used to be a car park. I don't know what's there now, but there used to be a car park over the road. We ended up down that way, and we seen this cab just sitting there, and he had his little white light on the top of the taxi, and we thought, yeah, sweet. And it was me and 3 other big Polynesian boys, and we, sweet cab. So off we went, and if his light's on, you just get in, don't you? We did. Anyway, we just opened the doors and jumped in, and mate of mine, Otto, was in the front seat, and he's just gone, oh, Jesus, and jumped straight back out. We've all kind of looked, and then we've all jumped, and this big fat cabbie man was sitting there with his fly undone, having a proper flog in the front of his thing with a fucking People magazine or a picture magazine up on the steering wheel.
That was back before phones.
I had a proper belt in the front seat. And we've all just shit the bed, jumped out of the cab, fuck it, we'll walk home. Didn't want a cab that much, not interested. But yeah, everyone's got some good cab stories.
I've got a story like that one, but it wasn't a cabbie one. This one was another one. It's actually where we are in this room here. It's probably only happened about 100 metres that way.
Yeah.
We used to have bananas in this area.
Yep.
And we used to bell inject, and they do it all on 4-wheelers now, so there's a bit of noise. But when we used to do it here, and it was hilly and shit, so we'd walk and do it.
Yep.
And go up and down the rows. And so you're quiet. You're just a human just walking up and down the road. You're pretty quiet. Anyway, this fellow was putting out lime in the farm, and I heard his truck turn off and his tractor turn off, and we're walking, me and I think it was Noel, we were walking up the hill. Anyway, we got to the top of the hill, and his old mate just sitting right beside the back wheel of the truck, got a mag out, and he's just going for it. We were just like, oh, no. We ran back down the hill, and I said to Noel, is he doing a bog or a flog? And he's like, oh, God, I didn't look that hard. I'm like, well, fuck, we'll just call this cunt bog flog. So every time we walk past him, I'm bog flog, and he's like all shame and wouldn't look at us.
Taxis, tractors, doesn't matter when the urge hits you, brother. The urge hits you.
I've got some more taxi stuff.
Yeah, go on then. So I've got another one.
Yeah, you can tell yours.
All right, so when I was living over west, it's the worst place in WA. Perth is a shocker for cabs. Like getting a cab at the end of the night. It's kind of a night district called Northbridge, where everyone kind of ends. It's city as shit and that sort of stuff. It is what it is. And we were at the front one morning trying to get a cab. When I say there was a lineup, every taxi rank you went to, there was 100 people standing there waiting to get a cab. So we finally got our cab, and it was towards the end of the night. Like it was, it would have been way after 5. And this cabbie pulled up. He had a lollipop in his mouth too. And he said to us before we even got in the cab, me and a couple of mates, he said to us, oh, do you have money?
How did he say
it?
And
he said, you fellas got money? That's what he said.
With a lollipop?
Yeah, with a lollipop. And we were like, yeah, we got money. He said, where do you want to go? We said, down to like South or Fremantle way, which is a fair hike. Like you're talking probably a 30, 35-minute drive.
Fremantle's fair way out of
town
anyway.
It is. And he said, but you've got money? And we were like, yeah, mate, we've got money. Like, and he actually said, show us some money. And we were like, okay. So we showed him some money, and we got in the cab, and all he did was whinge about the fact that this was his last job, and after this job, to hand the car over, he had to go all the way up the other end of Perth, up Joondalup or something like that, which is the northern end of Perth, to hand the car over. And we're like, yeah, okay, man, well, cool. You could have said no. You could have grabbed someone that was going that direction, but we're happy to pay for it. And he just wouldn't, I've got to clean the car and, going all the bloody... We were only in the car for like maybe 10 minutes. And there's this big bridge that goes up over the Swan River as you leave Perth called the Narrows. And we'd only just gone over the Narrows, and we're cruising around the edge of the waterway there, and he just wouldn't fucking let up. And one of my mates, who's not backwards and coming forwards, said, well, if you didn't want the fucking job, you didn't have to take it. Like, and this bloke just pulled over on the side of the highway, fucking ranting and raving at us, like, you get out of my taxi, I want this. And we're all like, well, you can get fucked then. Like... Keep your cab. You're not getting nothing out of us. No. Oh, you have to pay me for... We're not paying you for fucking nothing. And he was cracking the shits on fucking proper to the point where we were starting to walk away, and he'd already gotten out of the cab. And we've come back, and it was escalating way more than it fucking should have. And While he was paying attention to us, he missed the fact that one of my mates had gone around to the driver's side of the car and turned his car off, pulled the keys out, and he, what the fuck you doing around here? And he just hoiked his keys out into the middle of the Swan River. Just fucking pegged them. Get fucked. And we all just wandered off down the edge of the highway, jumped over a barrier and took off towards, not Claremont, I can't remember what it's called, where the Perth Zoo is. We were in that kind of area. And we ended up finding another cab just over the way, and he was the nicest dude in the world and gave us a ride home and that sort of stuff. Don't know how old mate went about getting a spare set of keys, because he had a long way to go get those keys.
Mate, he's not a whole lot.
And they're not the strongest swimmers, so...
No. They got a floaty up there.
Middle of the night, I sure as shit wouldn't go swimming in the Swan River.
No.
But, yeah, everyone's got a good cabbie story, though.
Yeah.
Surely.
I've got another one. Do you have any, Quentin?
No, I don't actually. I don't.
You just drank drive like the rest of us.
Yeah, so this one was I think I might have told it on here. I can't remember if I did. We went to the reef one day, Spearing, and had a big day at the reef, and everyone used to come back to my place and we'd all get on the piss, and then we'd all, after we cleaned the boat and all that, we'd just say, all right, we caught a few crays, caught a few fish, and we'd call a taxi and go into the local pub. We called a maxi taxi, we all loaded in, and I won't name someone, but he was one of our sponsors. He said, oh, can you pop the boot, mate, of the maxi taxi?
Yeah.
And he goes, I'll jump in that way, because we're all lining up to get in. And anyway, he popped the boot, but he also pulled out the spare tyre when he jumped in the back of the boot. And we had all our cray heads. And he pulled the spare tyre up, chucked the fucking cray heads in there and put it back down and shut the boot. And we jumped in.
Of the cab?
Of the cab.
Oh, that's an asshole move. No wonder cabbies never picked you bastards up.
So for like 2 months, no one could ride in that taxi because they couldn't find where the smell was coming from.
No wonder no one liked you pricks growing up. Fucking hell.
Yeah.
I mean, good gag, but far out. Yeah, right.
Yeah, so, but always the price of the taxi was way over, so they got what they
Their
needed.
comeuppance.
Comeuppance.
They got their comeuppance. What astounds me, though, is imagine having the energy after a day of spearing to be able to go to the pub and get on the terps.
Yeah.
Do you reckon you could do that now?
Yeah, I can, because it energizes me.
Really?
If I get back on fucked, if I have like a 6-pack within half an hour, it's just like
You good to go
two
again?
new batteries just got
Like a
pulled
Red
out,
Bull.
put back in, yeah.
And not for me.
But then the next day you really
Yeah, you're
there's
crook.
a wall. There's a wall. You
Oh,
just
yeah.
hit it.
I'd find that wall on the drive to the fucking pub.
Yeah.
I just can't do that sort of shit anymore.
Because I was thinking about the Royale, we probably, when you think about eating, like if you're fighting, when do you stop eating for the fight? Do you know much about that? I don't know much.
Oh, like
have lunch, or do you even have
yeah,
lunch?
you have lunch for sure.
Do you
Absolutely,
have breakfast?
Yeah, breakfast.
Because I usually don't eat breakfast.
Look, you're probably best because realistically, think about it this way: once
to your routine.
yeah. I suppose if your routine is not to have breakfast, then probably don't have breakfast. But if everything's kicking off at say 3, you probably won't be in the ring until 5ish. You definitely want to have lunch, and
you
probably
need
a
to have
big
something.
lunch.
Yeah.
Like I think that a lot of that mentality around, eating and that sort of stuff. When it comes to sport, you look at what a footy player puts down before they go run out on the field. It's a bucket load of food, man. It really is. You want the energy up.
Yeah,
you don't want
your high carb sort of stuff.
and then also too, you got to remember post fight, you're probably going to be straight on the piss.
And that's what
There's
that's
not
what
going to be
worries
much
me.
in the way of dinner and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah,
Do you know what I'm
downhill.
saying?
And I just remember when I used to play football, same thing.
Yeah.
After the game, 3 beers, you're at the
cactus.
bar with everyone as maggot as them.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So man, I'd be smashing some food. And I know you're not a breakfast person, but I'd probably force a breakfast down your throat.
Yeah.
Just so you got a bit more food under your belt.
Is that when you're going to call your doodle? Here comes breakfast.
There's no need to force that. I probably won't even reach your throat.
Might chip a tooth though.
Is that in your teeth?
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah, I'll
Cuz.
get it out for you.
I'm Filipino from the waist down. No. I actually watched something just the other day, and it was the Auckland Blues, the Super Rugby team, and it followed one of the athletes in their prep for the morning, man. Like his breakfast was like 6 eggs and bacon, and then mid-morning he had like a couple of muffins, and then lunchtime, and I think it was for a 4 o'clock game or a 5 o'clock game. And then like lunchtime he had like 2 big wraps full of turkey and salad and all that sort of stuff. Like you're going to burn the calories. And after, like I wouldn't do it an hour and a half before you eat, but definitely
before you fight.
2 to 3 hours. Before you fight. But definitely 2.5 hours before you fight. Yeah, you want to smash a big meal.
Yeah, because I think it kicks off at 3:30.
Yeah, that's what I mean. And it's hard to time when your fight's going to be.
Yeah, because they're 6 minutes. 6 minutes plus time. So you're probably 8 to 10 minutes between fights. So you probably say 15 with walkouts, 20 minutes with walkouts.
Oh, call it half an hour.
Yeah. So I'd probably say 20.
Yeah. But they're going to try and stretch this as much as they can. But
also there's 14 fights or 12 fights.
Is there?
I think it's 12, maybe 14.
Yeah, so at least 20.
Yeah.
At least. I'd say it'd be closer to half.
So there's going to be,
2 hours.
Yeah, so around 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
Aim for.
Yeah. So definitely I'd be smashing some food because it'll come back to... I even noticed it the other day. I went to the gym. It was last week, and I didn't even realise until I got in the gym I hadn't eaten. I'd had breakfast and then hadn't eaten for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
And brekkie was at 10 o'clock in the morning or whatever it was, because I don't eat brekkie straight away.
Yeah.
And then it was probably about 6:37 by the time I got into the gym, and I got through about 20 minutes of what I normally do, and I was cooked.
Yep.
I was done. You just run out of energy. So no, I think gone are the days that you kind of you don't eat before doing exercise. Make sure you get some good food in.
Yeah.
Definitely. And probably ice your carbs too.
You'll be right.
So pub ammo, what are we about?
We're about telling the yarns that you would most probably be here in a pub, and you will not Google them.
You would definitely not fact check them, because there's a 99.9% chance that they're true, but there is a 0.1% chance that they're not.
Alleged.
Yeah. So like useless pieces of information that could pop up. Here's one for you, because we both like music. Aretha Franklin, R-E-S-P-E-C.
Yeah.
Was that Aretha?
Yeah, R-E-S-P-C-P-T.
CPT.
Like Ali G said.
Respect.
Respect.
In 1985, her voice was declared a natural resource of the state of Michigan.
Natural resource.
A natural resource. I wonder if that still stands.
Is she alive?
Aretha? No, I don't think she is. I think she's gone, bro. I think she might be gone, Aretha Franklin. Not 100% sure, but I think she might be gone. Here's another one I got for you. Okay, so Big Zero Soccer Stadium in Brazil. You ever heard of it?
No.
No. Okay, me neither until I read this. But when they built the Big Zero Soccer Stadium in Brazil, okay, it's perfectly aligned so that halfway is on the equator.
Crazy.
So when the teams play there, you're actually defending a different part of the hemisphere.
And then
a different hemisphere,
the
I should say.
toilets at one end will flush one way, and toilets will flush
I wonder
the other
if
way.
they do.
Is that right?
It is.
No, that's not the equator.
No, it is. It's the equator. That's the equator. So south of the equator, everything goes clockwise, and north it goes anti-clockwise.
Have you seen that one where you can go online and watch it, where they put water in a bucket and it goes down one way, then they walk about 50 meters to the other side, and on the actual equator it goes straight down. And when they go to the other side, it goes the opposite way.
Does it? Even by that minimal amount of distance?
Yeah.
Really? So then it would stand to reason that the idea...
It was in some, like, canyon, like one of those sort of
countries.
countries.
Swells probably determined by the design of the toilet and the initial flow pattern. No. What would they know? That's why we say don't Google it.
AI is wrong with that one.
100% they are. Because cyclones and hurricanes...
Yeah.
That is the difference. Is the direction of rotation.
But I've seen it on Instagram, so it's somewhere, even on YouTube.
So it's got to be true. It must be true. I've got another one for you, and this actually kind of spun me out. This one. So we talk about our technological advancements. So there was only 32 years difference between the maiden flight of a Spitfire, the Spitfire airplanes, the warplanes,
and the jet.
And a Concorde.
And a Concorde.
And a Concorde.
Fucking hell, 32 years.
32 years
Pretty
between
big
a
movement.
V12 powered single engine
Yeah.
fighter plane, which, don't get me wrong, by all standards, is still
Yeah.
a heck of a piece of equipment. But to a
Concorde.
the fastest commercial jetliner that there's ever been.
I've seen a video the other day of the last ever footage of the Concorde, because the one that crashed.
Oh, yeah. That was a French one, wasn't it?
Yeah, and they showed it flying over some place in London or somewhere, and the people in the backyard, and actually just filmed it as it flew over.
Was it the
they
one
were
that-
stunning pieces of
Oh,
machine.
man, no.
And the noise
Crazy
that they
looking
made,
machine. Yeah, look at
the
them.
noise that they made was insane. Because they went
they're nuts.
subsonic, didn't they? So they used to go at
Yeah.
60,000 feet, I'm pretty sure, as well. They went,
And didn't
and
they
they'd
do
go
like a Mach 2?
1,400.
Yeah,
or
I
something?
thought it was Mach 2.
What is that?
It'd be more than 1,400, I think. What's a
Yeah, altitude 6,000 feet. Jeez, I know my shit.
Mach 2 in
What speed?
kilometres? Bro, Mach 2 is 2,470 kilometres an hour.
Because it used to do, I think, London to New York in 6 hours or something.
Yeah, something
or 4
ridiculous
hours.
like that. I know, 2,150. There you go.
And what was the speed
That's
from?
nuts.
Because I think it's like
New
10
York,
hours.
London to New York in 3 hours.
3 hours. And
Holy!
it's usually a 10-hour flight or 8-hour flight.
Wow. That's crazy.
And see, Elon and that, they're talking about doing that.
Doing
now,
something similar
shooting
again,
out,
aren't they?
So you sort of go out into outer space a little bit,
Well, it's less resistance,
and you
isn't
use
it?
the curvature of the Earth rotation to get you back into where you need to go.
Really?
Hmm.
So because it's flat, does it like spin you around the outside?
There's one for all our flatheads out there. I actually am friends with a flat earther. So
Hey man, it's 2024. You can 2025. Sorry, my bad. You can believe in whatever you want to believe in. I don't give a shit. Knock yourself out.
So he's I actually we're nearly going to get him on here just to have a chat, because he does have some good facts.
Oh, and look, and I know there's a few people like our TikTok or our little post that we put up a wee while back about the Martians coming back to Earth. Sorry, the astronauts coming back to Earth. A few people in the comments.
The comments went to town on us.
Yeah, and I kind of stayed out of it because I was like, it's awesome to chuck these darts and then watch everyone else just go at each other on it.
And because I was like reading them, I'm like, fuck, I hope Joy don't reply to none of these guys.
I was just watching all these little spot fires start. I ended up. Sometimes when I reply though, I don't want to get into shit with people, so I ask very open-ended questions, and I kind of throw it back on them. I'm kind of like, well, where's the proof? I'm open to anything, and I'm certainly not an expert. We say that here all the time. Do you know what I mean?
We showed proof. If you watch that video.
Yeah, if you think that was anything else but AI, cool. And a few people were like, oh, did you go to school? Oh, there must be too much lead in the water.
Yeah.
Are your parents related? I'm like, yeah, potentially.
We'll probably go over
Fine,
a couple.
hey? Yeah.
Find it.
It's just like, look at these dudes going at each other. So it's awesome to be able to start fights and just not be involved in them. You know what I'm saying? Like, good for you. Good for you, folks.
No, I don't want to. Here we go. Where did the other two come from? Maybe Earth.
Well, yeah, at some point.
Tell me you skip school without telling me you skip school. Guys, stay off the mushrooms.
No, because they're in abundance up here.
Yeah, that was it. Definitely get your pipes checked, boys. Seems the lead content is high in both
all that
houses.
sort of stuff. Yeah. And there was just look. That one there. Open the replies to that one.
Which one?
Yeah, that one that's right on there. Yeah. Open the replies there.
So the lack of education in Australia too. I thought you guys were better than that. So you believe it's
Someone
real.
put up, so you believe it's real.
Of course, there's no evidence happened. Obviously, I've seen the unscientific YT videos and the conspiracy against which is totally unconvincing.
And I couldn't help myself. So
Out of
I wrote, this is
curiosity.
what I wrote.
Out of curiosity, how could we do it in the 60s but can't do it now, considering there's more technology in your iPhone than there was available back then? And then you wrote to yourself.
I know, I don't know how to do this shit.
NASA's well-published claim is the technology was lost. Lost where?
Yeah, where'd it go? Like, come on. You mean they could come up with the technology to go to space and all that sort of stuff, but they didn't have the technology or the resources to keep that technology.
But I think this one person, one person said the other two were Russian cosmonauts, so they probably sent them up
To get 'em.
unlock the door so they get
To bring 'em back.
down. Yeah,
But then there's
I'm not
this,
saying we know everything.
no. But then there's this thing that they reckon it can take up to a week for astronauts to start walking again.
Yeah,
Because they've been weightless.
Yeah.
So they lose their muscle tone, their dexterity and all
Yeah.
that sort of thing and their balance to be able to walk. Man, they jumped out after what was it, 9 months in space, 6 months in space or whatever it is? That old biddy jumped out that thing real good. She's walking just fine.
you want to see the
Anyway.
You want to hear the last one?
Yeah, go.
The best. This is the best one. What are you two expecting? What are you expecting to see instead? Fuck moronic.
Good answer. Good reply. Good reply. I like that. So anyway, if we don't reply to your messages on the Instagram and the TikTok, it's just because we love watching people have spats on our expense.
Yeah, we like watching Fight Club.
And I can't be bothered getting into them.
We don't talk about Fight Club.
Yeah, the first rule of Fight Club, don't talk about Fight Club. All right, a little bit more useless information here. I've got one for you. So, the Chinese, and I know I'm not turning this into an America versus Chinese or the rest of the world versus Chinese. I'm just saying that their ability to construct and build shit
It's very quick.
is astounding. So, they have just built a bridge, right? It's called the Huajiang Grand Canyon Bridge. So chuck that in, bro.
So they had to call it the Grand Canyon too.
Huajiang.
So if you knock a poet over, make sure you let it rest because it will spit froth.
There it is on the, sixth one down. Chuck that in. All right. So this is what the Chinese have just built. Now, I think it's almost finished.
In a week.
No. It's taken them 2 years. Look
Holy
at that.
shit.
That's not an AI image, brother. That is the bridge.
It sort of looks
right?
AI because it looks like, see that on the left there, how
It's a
it's...
concept.
Righto,
this
so
one.
we are talking a bridge that is 625 metres high at its highest point above this canyon. It's taken, I can't remember the amount of time that it's taken out of what the drive used to be, but it's taken it from like an hour or a 2 hour drive and it's turned it into a couple of minutes to get across this bridge. So it's 625 high, which is twice the height of the Eiffel Tower. And it's from its last support, from support to support, is 2 kilometres.
So it's just a big, long...
One big lock.
suspension
So
bridge.
yeah, we'll chuck this up so you can see it. This is crazy,
Yeah.
crazy.
How
brother.
they've used
And
those,
that's how they've built
jibs.
it.
Yeah,
They've
it's
used-
actually not humans doing it, really.
No, they've
just
used
lock in. Oh,
they've
there's a
used
few
those
humans there.
jibs. There's all people bolting it together, and they've just brought it out. So they've suspended the wires first.
Yeah.
And then they've used
They run
those
like
great
a
big
cable
as a
crane.
gantry.
Yeah.
Yeah. To bring out each section, and then they just bolt the sections together.
Yeah.
And then once it's all bolted together, they'll go back and I think they've already started pouring the asphalt or the bitumen across the top of it.
Yeah. So was that the second biggest bridge, the Royal George Bridge, is it?
That was the previous one that it's replacing.
Oh, no, was that, or that,
Oh, is it?
or is that the
Royal
last
Gorge.
biggest?
Oh, that might be the last
Royal
biggest.
Gorge,
I'm not sure.
Not George.
I didn't read that one.
Real George. I've been across the...
But they've pulled that off in 2 years, man.
Yeah. I've been across
2 years,
the
bro.
Golden Gate Bridge.
Yeah, okay.
And it's in San Francisco.
Yep.
And on the ends of it, they show, you know, how the suspension stuff that goes across, it looks like just a cable.
Yeah.
But There's actually a cut piece of it on the end, and you can go and have a look at it.
Oh, okay.
And it's probably, I'd say, double the size of a 44-gallon drum.
Yeah.
And it's just all like 16 mil rods. Just all together in a big, like, round
bundle
thing, in a big bundle.
And that gives it its
like
strength.
a case. Yeah.
But then that also probably allows a little bit of movement too.
Yeah, and it's probably twisted or, like a rope sort of.
Yeah.
But they sort of cut it and it's
To
just
give a
all little.
cross-section of it.
It's pretty crazy how they use it.
But check that out. So there's the road underneath it. That's where you used to have to travel to get across this gorge. You used to have to follow this road all the way down the bottom, cross the bridge, come all the way back up the top. And they just went, nah, you know what?
We'll go across.
We'll just go straight line. Shortest direction from any spot to spot is a straight line, isn't it? Check that out. That's crazy talk.
That's crazy.
Right?
Yeah, so pause it here and have a Google. It's a pretty big bridge.
We couldn't even fix do a repair job on the Palmerston Highway in 2 years.
2 years, and it was just a 50-metre washout.
That's exactly right. These dudes are building 6 lanes? 3 lanes each way, I think it is. For 2 kilometres, 635 metres above the deck. Stop it.
Stop it, China.
They wonder why they're leaving us behind. We'd sit there and argue about it for 2 years. They'd be doing environmental protection studies on it for 2 years.
It's got a tower top stargazing bar.
Right?
At the top of the tower there, see? It's got an elevator.
That's
and
nuts.
A bungee jump level. It's got everything.
It's got everything. We couldn't build a tunnel for cassowaries in 2 years, Bob.
But it only cost 16 million for a cassowary.
No, it was like 27.
I think it was supposed to be
16. It blew way out.
Yeah.
And now it's just a suicide platform for cassowaries. Because have you seen the drop on the other side? Okay, on the issue of this, so if anyone's been to North Queensland, just south of Ellarish, you're going to go up over a little range. I'm not sure what the range is from, but the EPA government got together and they decided that they needed a walkway for wildlife to get across the road without getting skittled. So they built this great big it's a tunnel over the top of the road, isn't it, for cassowaries and wildlife to use. But when you see it, like from one side, the high side, it's okay. Like it looks pretty believable and they've fenced it so that the animals get corralled into it. But then on the downhill side, it's a sheer freaking drop. Cassowaries can't fly, bro. You need wings for that.
Sheer drop and a railway line at the bottom.
And a railway line at the bottom of it.
Can you Google Animal Walkways Canada? Because there was some over there in the Whistler area, I'm pretty sure. I think they cost around $5 million to build.
Yeah.
And that's them there, over the main double lane there.
Yeah.
That's them there. $5 million to build that.
How did we spec? That's over 4 lanes.
Yeah.
And this is the problem with bureaucracy, isn't it? When you get so caught up in bureaucracy and environmental impact studies and projections and this and that and the rest, it ends up just blowing any job that you do out of the just ridiculous, doesn't it?
Can you Google the price of them? Because the person who was taking us for the trips, they said $5 million Canadian to build those, and I was like, shit,
4 million each.
4 million.
Yeah. 1.1, okay, so anywhere from 1.1 to 9.7. So average it out at the 4.5 million mark.
Not 30.
Not 30.
Over 2 lanes.
And my question is too, why would you go up into the air 35 feet when you could have gone under the road and had a much better gradient and a much better this and a much better that for half the price?
Yep.
And you also would not need it to be 35 feet in the air and 20, 40, 50 feet wide.
And stop traffic.
And you wouldn't have to stop traffic. Do people not...
Yeah.
Anyway, look, I want to... You want to talk some sport?
Yeah,
I've got some sports stuff for you.
You know what? I haven't even watched one NRL game this year.
Okay, we'll start. It's funny you say that. We'll start.
I haven't because I don't have any time to.
Yeah, fair call. Look, I've watched a little bit, and fortunately, the number one thing I'm stoked about is my Tigers are not on the bottom of the table.
Did the Broncos lost last night?
Yeah, they did to the Roosters.
Yeah, they were paying big money.
Were they?
Roosters were like $6.
Really?
I was nearly going to put money on it because I heard it on another podcast that they were saying they're around $6.
See, and I don't think the Roosters have been that bad this year. They haven't been amazing, but they haven't been that bad. The Broncos should have rolled them, but the Broncos kept letting them off the hook. I actually watched a fair bit of that game last night.
Yeah.
The Broncos let them off the hook. They just kept making silly mistakes, giving away stupid penalties and that sort of stuff. They probably showed their age just a little bit. You know what I mean? They're probably a young team, and they just let the Roosters off the hook. The Roosters were pretty good. But there's been a bit of conjecture over the last couple of weeks in the NRL circles. They're talking about eligibility and the fact that a lot of these players now, because the NRL is, I think, over 60% Polynesian.
So you're
a lot of these players,
Queensland, New South Wales. shit.
yeah. So a lot of these players are talking about everyone's throwing the term around defecting and going to play for their nation of origin or where their heart lies, I suppose, you know. And there's been a few, you know, Gallons jumping up and down about it and all that sort of stuff. But I was watching him on the panel with Gus Gould, and Gus Gould hit the nail on the head. He said, at the moment, there's a lot of people in Australian footy circles that are whinging and whining about it. But it's going to make the game stronger.
Yeah.
If Samoa's strong, if Tonga's strong, and Fiji's strong, it's only good for the game, and they want the game to grow internationally, and that's the only way that you're going to do it. So big props to Phil Gould for bringing that up, because it comes back to origin, state of origin, because there's this bullshit tier set up where Fiji, Tonga, and Samoa are classed as tier 2 nations, which means any player from the tier 2 nations can still play origin.
Yeah.
If they're a tier 1 nation, which is only England, New Zealand and Australia, they're not allowed to play state of origin.
Yeah.
So that's what Gal was whinging about. You know what I mean? Oh, well, you know, it's going to make the game weaker. And Gus hit the nail on the head. He actually said, well, if you want to get in the Aussie team or the state of origin team, get better.
Yeah. And that's
It's
the
that
thing.
simple.
Is fucking...
Get better.
Yep. Your Australian team should be picked off your origin.
Well, of course it should be. You know, but a lot of
It's
these...
like city country for...
But these players that are talking
South
about
Wales.
most of them are born in Australia. They just have Samoan heritage or Tongan heritage or things like that. So, you know, you look at what the Samoan team could be. It could be mind-blowing. It could be the Hammer. It could be Payne Haas, Stephen Crichton. Like, if you were to take the top 20, 30 players out of the NRL, I guarantee 15 of them are Samoan.
Yeah.
No, so Samoa should be, because they've already beaten Australia, they've beaten New Zealand, they've beaten England. Tonga, I think, has done the same. I don't know if Tonga's beaten Australia. Yeah, Tonga has beaten Australia once now. You're talking, there's no real tier 1, tier 2 anymore.
The only thing is, these Samoan and Tongan people, they're coming and living in Australia, then they're marrying Australian women and having Australian babies.
Yeah, so they're Aussies.
So they're Aussie kids, so then they're origin kids.
Yeah, they're origin kids. If they're born in New South Wales, they can play in New South Wales.
So they'll be strong now, but it should make us stronger.
This is the thing about Australia's always been in the good position where they've been able to cherry pick. And because of players like Jason Taumalolo and all these guys that have gone, no, you know what, I don't want to play origin, I don't want to play for Australia, I want to play for my nation heritage. It's turning the tide a little bit, but it's a good thing. It shouldn't be looked at as being a bad thing. Like, okay, there's certain players that aren't going to play origin, but there's plenty of other players that are going to step up and play origin. You know, every year there's an argument over position selection in origin, isn't it? You know, like there's always 3 top-rate fullbacks.
There's enough people to make a good game.
Of course there is. Yeah, 100% there is. You look at New South Wales and their fullbacks. You got, you know, Dylan, whatever his name is, from the Panthers. You got Tommy Turbo and you got James Tedesco.
Yeah.
That's 3 out of the best top 5 fullbacks in the game.
Yeah.
So
and usually they don't pick wingers because they usually you've good fullbacks get pushed to the wings.
Exactly. Yeah. You know, people end up missing out.
Yeah.
But it's going to grow the game.
But
if they want league to be an international game and compete with Union on an international standard, they got to do it.
What are your thoughts about they should only be allowed to be picked in the position they play in?
I think now, because so many of the positions are you can chop and change. I don't think it matters so much anymore. Like the difference between a half and a 5/8. Yeah. I'm not saying that it's no different. I was actually talking to a mate of mine about this the other night. The only difference I see between halves and 5/8 these days, like you look at the good combinations of halves and 5/8, it's not necessarily a position or a skill set
It's
thing.
a left and a right.
It's definitely a left and a right thing. Yeah. Which I don't understand. I don't know why there's been this focus on left and right. You'd think you want your players to be able to play anywhere on the field
switch
without
around.
drama. But the one I noticed with combinations is probably there's always the good combinations. There's always a bit of calm, and then there's chaos.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Melbourne. You look at Melbourne. Cameron Munster, chaos. That dude doesn't know what he's doing half the time. But then he's got Jerome. Then he's got Jerome Hughes.
Yeah.
Calm, plays the percentages.
Yeah.
It was the same with Penrith. You know, Cleary and Luai.
Yeah.
Calm and chaos. They complement each other really well.
Yeah.
Penrith, 4 losses from 4, or 5. 5 from 5 now, I think they are, to start the season. So all good things come to an end. But I think you can probably throw a lot
You'll count
of that.
on them by the end.
I think you will too.
Yeah.
I mean, they're talking that they're already out of contention.
After all the games I've watched.
Oh, look, you wouldn't write them off just because they've, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And getting back to when we were kids growing up, you remember playing centre? I used to play centres a fair bit.
Yep.
You didn't have a left and a right. You had an inside and outside centre.
Yeah, that's right.
So when the ball went to one side of the field, you all had to run
switched.
around the back and go all the way to the other side of the field. And then when you go back the other, all had to run away around.
And Union's still kept to that. Do you know what I mean? Like if you play, you know, in Union, I reckon open side flanker 7 is probably your busiest position. Like the 7 is just all over the park.
Yeah.
But behind the 7, you're probably talking the 13, the outside centre.
Yeah.
Because they've got to cover both sides of the field, and there's a lot of distance and there's a lot of running.
Yeah.
Maybe fullback as well. 15, they always cover big distances as well.
When I played A grade here locally in the last couple of years I played, our coach used to make us more involved as a winger, he's saying to me, count the tackles, yell out the tackles. So your team knows how many more tackles they are.
Yeah,
because
that's
half the time the fucking ref doesn't yell them out.
Yeah.
So when we're attacking, I used to yell them out the number they are.
Yeah.
But when we're defending, I always add one.
Add one. What do you mean?
Because then the other team thinks, oh, it's 5th tackle. And it's only 4th.
And they might kick
And
early.
half the time they kick early.
Yeah, gotcha. Gotcha.
So it was just shit like that. Because I used to yell them out and then look, my coach is going, no, it's I'm like, fuck up.
But I think too with the positional side of things in the NRL, I reckon it doesn't matter so much anymore because the size difference isn't there anymore. You look at the size of some of these wingers, man.
they're
Like
insane.
last night, it was that Selwyn Cobbo come up against that Daniel Tupou. And I know Tupou's 6'6", you know, and Cobbo's got to be 6'3", 6'4". He's got to be. And both of them are well over 100 kilos. They must be 105, 106 type players. Tupou could even be heavier at 6'6". So when you got players like that, you know, you look at how many of these wingers will go up the middle of the field and make 20 metres every run because they're just monsters.
And you notice a lot in these games lately, the wingers and that, they do a lot of sets.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like they do a
They're
kick
busy now.
downfield, then the winger's doing the first run up, and then the other winger's doing the second run up, and then you're like, what are these forwards fucking doing?
Yeah.
Because they've defended for a couple of
Yeah,
sets,
that's
whatever,
right.
and it's taking
You know,
the load off.
It's a very different game than what it was 15, 20 years ago, like when we were playing and that sort of thing. Your wingers were, 85 kilos ringing wet?
I was 75.
Yeah, that's right, you know. So it's just a bigger, faster game now. So I think they can swap position. Well, like, what's the difference between a left centre and a left back rower? Not much.
Not much at all.
No. 4 or 5 metres and where difference on where they stand in the field. You know, I saw
you see this?
Yeah, I did see this. Yeah, bro.
I freaked out when I saw how bad a 12-year-old Chris Rugby over Brickle tackle dad calls for change. So
this young fella down in New South Wales, there you go, Cogra and De La Salle College. So it was De La Salle school. It was a schoolboys game, under 12s.
the boy back there looks tall. Is that him?
Yeah, and this young fella got upended. I watched it and I didn't think the tackle was that bad.
Yeah.
Like
Can you play that tackle?
it wasn't an Alex McKinnon type
There it
tackle
is.
where he got upended and turned upside down. It was
No,
just. I think he
what's
landed
wrong with
You're
flat
not
on
allowed
his
to
back.
lift.
No, you're not allowed to lift.
Yeah,
but I don't
what's-
think
What's wrong with that?
No, I didn't.
because he stopped at the line, and then
But he took him sideways.
Yeah, I know,
his-
and I think he landed flat on his back. I
Yeah,
don't
his
think
legs
his feet.
didn't go above his waist.
No, and the kid's kind of opted out of footy. He doesn't want to play any footy anymore and that sort of stuff. So, and you can't really blame this one on a size thing either because he's bigger than the
Same
kid that
size.
tackled him.
Actually, the kid was smaller.
Yeah. So,
I'd like to pat that kid on the back that did the tackle.
I've spoken about it on here a few times. Over in New Zealand with the union, they still do it by weight up to 65 kg.
Yeah.
Or 60 or 65 kg. It goes by weight, and then you jump into your age categories.
So did that kid get penalised for that?
He got
Put on
penalised
report.
for it.
What the fuck?
He just got penalised for it, which I think's, yeah. I get where the parents are coming
no
from.
lifting.
And
When we grew up, that was classed as a fucking awesome
that's a
tackle.
good shot. Yeah,
Because
yeah.
his legs didn't go above his waist.
No, he didn't. His legs didn't go above his waist and all that sort of stuff. I didn't think it was that bad, but I can see why parents get concerned. And when you look at the numbers, you can see why soccer is growing faster than any other sport in the country, because parents don't want to see their kids getting pumped.
Yeah.
And when you have a big... Yeah, it's a halfback. That's why he's got the yellow jersey on.
And the other thing is, that kid's probably front row and he's wearing headgear.
Oh no, poor kid. He got pumped by. Maybe it was his. Maybe it
He
was.
pulled up. He catted. He fucking pulled up. He deserves to get lifted. No, fuck it.
So I think now, coming back to Polynesians in sport, they're just genetically predisposed to play games like this, and I think that's what's scaring a lot of parents now. Because man, I've seen 12-year-olds that are the best part of 100 kilos
The
now.
team that did the tackling then, looks like there's a few more poly kids in that than the other team.
Yeah, because I look at my littlest fella. You know my littlest fella. He's not the biggest kid, and he loves playing footy. But man, I've seen him in the last couple of weeks. There's must have been a growth spurt between last season and now, because some of these other boys are big kids, man. Like you're probably talking coming up. He's under 10s, and I reckon there's a handful that you're probably talking 70-odd kilo.
Fucking hell.
60 to 70 kilo as an under 10.
Yeah, imagine young folks trying to bring that down.
So the problem is, and this is why Union does it, and I know Joey Johns calls for this quite a bit. He's a big kind of proponent of doing it by weight.
It keeps the kids in the game longer.
It does. And you think about how many Matty Bowens, JTs, that sort of thing, might skip out of the game because they get sick of getting whacked as young fellas, and they don't go on to become the Matty Bowens and the JTs of the game.
But I'm in...
On that one...
For me, that kid... Not that kid, but kids that get tackled like that and give up, didn't have enough heart to play the sport anyway.
Yeah, look, I think he got whacked fair.
I think he got whacked fair. Have a Google and see what you reckon.
Yeah, we'll chuck it up.
Yeah.
We'll check it up. So anyway, the other bit of
tackle.
It was a good shot. I
keep
thought
watching
it was. So, longevity in sport. What can you think of? People that did it for ages. Like I straight away go to LeBron. LeBron's
Smith.
in his
Smith.
no shit. Cam Smith.
For
How many
the size
years?
of him.
How many years did he play?
36.
But he played 18 years, didn't he? Cameron Smith.
For a person that's
seasons.
playing a contact sport, like basketball's not contact.
19 seasons, 19 years of first grade from 2002 to 2020 for the Melbourne
Tiger
Storm.
Woods. That's contact.
Yeah, how long did he play for? He's still playing.
He's still playing. Yeah, golf's probably the one you can...
Yeah, I mean...
You drive past the golf course, you see them old fuddy-duddies.
Yeah. And he's still cracking. I mean, he's playing alongside his kid now. And P.S., his kid can play. Young Charlie Woods, can hit a ball.
Yeah.
Okay, so, LeBron's another one. LeBron's played, I think this is his 20th season. He's the all-time scoring record now. I think he might even be the all-time for assists as well.
So John Jones is 37.
John Jones is 37. And
He's
that's
had a lot of breaks, though.
Wow, John Jones is 113 kilos. Jesus. I didn't realise he was that big. That's a huge dude.
He's all upper because his ankles
And
are
193.
sticks.
What's 193? That's got to be close to 6'5".
Yeah, I'm 185.
Yeah, okay.
That's 6'1".
I've got one for you. You may not be a baseball follower, but there was a dude named Carl Ripken Jr., Ripken. This dude played, and I know it's baseball, and I guess baseball's not a contact sport, and there's a fair bit of time where you're just standing out in the outfield waiting to catch a ball. He was a shortstop. But this dude played 2,632 consecutive games of baseball. 2,632 games. Yeah, they do. They rack
baseball
up.
play 3 or 4 games.
They rack up a few different games, right? So
They don't do fuck all.
and he came into the major leagues as not really a superstar. Like he wasn't, a number 1 draft pick or anything like that. He was just a run of the mill. He just never got hurt.
Yep.
He just kept going. I think the
Some
previous
people
record
genetically just don't get injured and can recover quickly.
and I think the previous record was 2,100 thereabouts, the low 2000s.
Yeah.
So he blew that out of the park. When he broke the record, the game stopped for 22 minutes.
Yeah.
The game just stopped, and
The
he
crowd
did
just
laps
cheered.
around the field, standing
pulled his
ovation. True, eh? 27 seasons he. Oh no, sorry, that's Nolan Ryan. Put in Carl Ripken Jr. I don't know how many seasons he started in the 80s.
I knew his last name had to have Junior in it. Fucking
There
American.
he is. No, Ripken, R.I.P. There he is.
Carl Ripken.
Shortstop.
Is he
The
still
Iron
playing there? He
Man,
looks
they
like
called
he's
him.
60 there on the left.
So he played from. What does it say? Here we go. 81 to 2001. 20
Yep,
years.
20 years.
20 years. And there was never any fanfare about his like career.
Yeah.
Like he just showed up.
Yeah.
He was very much a Cameron Smith type. Just showed up. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And when he retired, how's this for a retirement? He was on the list to play in the next game coming up, and they have some sort of board in the thing. And he just walked into the clubhouse and took his name off the board. Just said to the general manager, "That's it.
Done?
I'm out. Done." Yep.
That's what
No fanfare. No final game. Voluntary ended his streak before the final home game of the '98 season.
And what was it?
6 foot, one of the best shortstops in Major League history.
You know Alfie Langer? You know
Yeah.
how he, and the reason why he retired?
Was that?
Because his brother
Because he
Kevy,
sank too much piss.
still does. His brother Kevy used to coach us locally here, and Alfie used to come up every year and get on the piss for our, what do you call it, fucking party at the end of the year.
Yeah.
Anyway, and he told us, he goes, the reason why I retired was because I was sitting in the dressing room before a game, and the 4 and 20 pie lady walked past, and all he could think about was sitting in the grandstand and eating and drinking piss and eating a 4 and 20 pie instead of playing the game.
And that's why he pulled up.
And he goes, well, looks like
That's it for me.
that's it for me.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's exactly right, isn't it? When you lose that passion for it,
Yeah.
there's no point in doing it anymore. Far out. Because I wanted a 4 and 20 and a schooner. And that sums up Alfie perfectly, doesn't it?
And I can tell you a couple of little, not sort of inside stuff, but when I went down to the Origin one thing, they had a, after the Origin, all the players get together and they go to like just a motel room or an area and they just get on the fucking piss and yippee-yi-yay for hours until the next morning sort of thing.
Yeah.
If they win the series. I walk past the room, they open the door, and here's Langer standing there in his jocks singing yippee yippee. He's in his jocks and he's just the clown.
He's a weapon.
For the boys.
Yeah.
Just puts the show on.
165 centimetres.
He's not that big, eh?
That's little, isn't it? That's not, I think my missus is 165 centimetres. Do you reckon a player of that stature could survive
This day.
in this game now?
Well, how big's bloody Melbourne Storm halfback?
5'4".
That's
Bro,
my
I don't
team,
think
and I don't even know their names anymore.
I don't think there's anyone that is 5'4"
No.
in the game
What's his
tonight.
name? Melbourne Storm
Today.
halfback. You just said
Jerome
it before.
Hughes.
Jerome Hughes.
No,
How
no
tall
way.
is he?
Jerome Hughes is almost my size.
No.
I'm not even
You're
joking.
huge, bro.
I'm a unit. But no, dead set. The average height for an NRL player is around 5'10" and 99 kilos. Yeah, I reckon someone like, Adam Reynolds is probably pretty bloody short. Tallest and shortest. Here we go. 6'2". Keep going down. 5. Who's 5'5"? Josh Papali'i.
Jai Wee.
There's no way Josh Papali'i is 5'5". Oh no, that's not Josh. That's Joash Papali'i.
Joash.
Okay. All right. So Jai Gray, Trey Fuller 5'7", Zach Docker Clay 5'7", Appy's only 5'8". There you go.
Jeez.
Tom Starling, Tom Weaver.
That's my cousin.
Okay, so there's a couple of littler guys in there. Like I'm 5'10", 5'11"-ish. And then you start, but there's that big monster that plays for the Broncos. Go right back up the top, cuz. What's his name? Yeah, Ben Takura. 6'9".
6'9".
Nelson Asafa Solomona's probably up there too. Yeah, there you go.
Navram Willett.
Dominic Young is 6'7". That dude's a winger. Holy crap. Jason Saab, 6'6". Far out.
Should get a car named.
And that's what I mean. There you go. Look, Daniel Tupou was 6'5". He was playing last night and he was up against, what's his name? What did I say? Cobbo, Selwyn Cobbo. So Selwyn Cobbo must be about 6'3", 6'4". He's got to be.
So Canberra's at the top of the table.
Are they?
66.
They are too.
10 points.
Canberra, Melbourne, Brisbane.
But I
I
the
think that
game
might
hasn't
have
been played
changed
all
now.
this weekend, though. All the games.
Oh, no,
haven't
that's
been played.
Canterbury, not Canberra.
Oh, is it Canterbury?
Yeah, it's Canterbury. Yep.
I'm colourblind by the looks of it.
Yeah. Bulldogs, Storm, Broncos, Warriors,
You wouldn't have
Rabbitohs.
thought they'd be there.
Mate, damn, my Tigers are down to 12 now. Far out.
Look at Penrith, second last.
Panthers, yeah, I know.
Gee,
That might have
Cowboys
changed
there
by
too.
now too, because the Roosters won last night, so I think they might have jumped up. But, man, as long as we can make it in the
Titans
10.
doing well.
Titans are going all right.
They won 3 games.
They got pumped last night, though.
They got pumped last week
They
too,
got
didn't they?
flogged by St George last night. St George were really good. And that Penrith game against the Dolphins, man, I'll tell you what, Penrith, I don't know what's going on at Penrith. Like, they've lost a lot of talent, but far out, man. The only tries they scored were because the Dolphins cocked up.
Yeah.
That was it. They didn't generate, like, you know, when you try and create pressure, you keep that constant pressure, you make a try, you build a try.
Yeah.
Might take 5 or 6 sets. They weren't making nothing.
No.
It was just 2 cock-ups by the Dolphins players. And this poor dude, this Jack Bostock who plays on the wing for the Dolphins, there was a chip went into the in goal and he's run into his own in goal to kick it dead and it came straight off the side of his shin and went straight to a Panthers player. And as soon as he kicked it, you saw his head just go, oh. And it was a prop too. Yeah, slow motion.
All right, so
Anyway, that's it for sport.
we got a cunt of the week. Have you got one?
Did I have... Oh, look. Nah. I'll let it slide. I'll tell you about it afterwards. But
I got one.
I'll let it slide. Yeah, shoot. What do you got?
So I bought a barbecue from BCF and one of the gas line was playing up. So I took it
Yeah.
back into BCF and we were trying to figure out
Oh,
if it was
yeah.
the gas bottle or if it was the canister or whatever. So it took me about an hour to sort all this out, what was actually faulty. And so we, while I was there, I was talking to a fellow that sort of works in a agricultural business, and we're out the front having a chat about bananas and stuff. And these 4 kids walk out of the store, probably 17, 18-year-olds. They look dodgy as fuck. You just look at them, you're like, yeah, yous weren't in there fucking, because they walked out with nothing.
Yeah.
And they just melled around in there for probably half an hour. So shit went down while they were in there. So
Yeah.
we were standing at the front door, and they walked out, and the buzzer went off. Anyway, so I looked across, and they all pulled up, and they're all like looking at each other. And I looked at one fellow just to see how his body language was, but he must have been that stoned. He was just like, his eyes weren't even fucking open. And
Yeah.
I'm like, well, they're not freaking out that bad, so they probably didn't steal anything. Anyway, so they're like, come back into the store, boys. So they walk back into the store, but when they walk back into the store, they put the Coles bag, the paper Coles bag down on the ground.
Yep.
And walked back into the store and said, see, look. And the lady goes, no, bring the Coles bag back inside as well. Anyway, there's one little fellow just looks at her, looks at the bag, looks at her, looks at the bag, and just cuts for it to King George Park across the street.
Little
Just
shits, eh?
flat stick, just straight across the street. And I was just sitting there going, this is like a movie or something. You know, you
Yeah.
see it in
Is
movies.
this for real?
Yeah, this is
Yeah,
for real.
yeah.
And I'm just like, because when I seen him looking, I'm like, he's going to run. And I was only probably 3 meters away from him. And I was like, I'm not chasing him. You're not chasing him. I'm not fucking chasing him.
But they don't now, do they?
No. But the thing is, they're not allowed to chase him.
It's just...
So I know that all the people that listen to this podcast would never steal or do anything like that. So we can talk a little bit more inwardly on why they're not allowed to and all that sort of stuff. But do not steal from fucking BCF and do not steal from any shop. But they're saying now that the cops won't even get involved if you're stealing minor products now.
They won't.
And so you can pretty much just walk in and walk out. And they said to me, they're not allowed to leave the front door to chase that person to stop them. That's their rights. They've lost rights for actually apprehending someone and stopping
And
them.
it's become the done thing now. Like, you only have to look on the socials where you see people walking into shops countrywide and they just, like Coles and stuff like that, they just walk in and grab whatever they want, walk back out the door again.
Yep.
What my wife's uncle posted something from down the coast, and this bloke just walked into a super cheap or an Autobahn or something like that and just picked up like a nice head unit speaker combo in a box and just walked back out the door, jumped in his car and took off.
Yep.
Number plate all visible, like zero shits given.
Yeah.
Just do whatever they want.
Well, I spoke to the manager of the place yesterday, or I think he was a male enough, or he was, and he said BCF Cairns just had someone walk in there, pick up a Engel fridge, walk straight out the front door and put it in the back of his car and drove off. Once he was out that front door, they couldn't do anything about it.
And I think there's something regarding the monetary value too,
Yeah.
isn't it? It has to be worth...
Well, in
X.
America, it's under 1,000. I don't know what it is in Australia.
Or is that just an American thing, is it?
I don't know if it's an Australian thing, but I know in America it's $1,000.
And it becomes considered like grand theft or some other type of theft or something like that.
Yeah.
It's more serious. So if they
But
steal underneath that, it's
What
just
pisses me off is with all this, you got people doing this, and then you got a camera car parked on the side of the highway, booking someone doing 5 kilometres over the thing.
Yeah, I know.
Easy fucking target.
Yeah, it is.
How about you
It's-
pull that cunt out of that car and get him just to go chase those kids up?
Because it is it's
Revenue raiser.
It's passive income. That's what it is.
That's exactly what it is.
It is passive income. They can have a car sit there and just take photos versus having police on the street that actually have to do their job. Now, I'm not shitting on the police in any way, shape, or form.
Well, it's not the
because
police, it's the laws
not the
and all the
police.
shit
That's
that's behind
exactly
it.
right. It's the stuff that is behind it. So if you're out there and you've got any, like, if it's happened to you, let us know. Like, what was the outcome? What was the thing? Just flick us a quick voice message on the Gmail or on the Insta.
Like, the only thing I would have changed in
minor-
that whole situation, I would have picked that fella's bag up before he could pick it back up.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. And I think it's come to that point now where as a community, we got to call the shit out ourselves. You know what I'm saying? Like,
And-
I'm not saying do the vigilante stuff.
Well, the thing
but-
was, he could run, and I wasn't chasing him because he could run. I'm 46 now. I can't fucking run.
the busted calf.
There was no way I was
Yeah.
chasing that cunt.
That's definitely.
But the other thing was,
that does.
he
that gets the
ran-
cunt of the week.
He ran off. The manager of the store standing right about 2 meters away from the other 3 kids that were part of all of it.
Yep.
And they all just sort of stood there looking at each other and then just slowly just meandered off, and the store manager said nothing.
Yeah, I know.
What the fuck has this world gotten to?
Yeah, I know. I know,
They
bro.
were part of it. It's like, if there's a murder and those fucking 4 kids were together, guess what? You're accessories.
So minor theft is when the value's 150 or less. Police may issue a penalty notice instead of charging the individual with serious crime. If the value exceeds 150, it becomes more serious and may be prosecuted as theft under Australian law. $5,000 thresholds. So stealing property over 5,000 can result in a longer imprisonment sentence ranging from 10, 15, 14 years. You'll never get that. 100 grand threshold in Victoria, that is only. So if it goes over that amount of 100 grand, you end up in county court or Supreme.
Yep.
Indictable offences. But again, it just comes back to the fact that the cops are so under the pump
Yep.
dealing with all this other stuff.
I
that
think
this type
there's a lack
thing,
of police as well.
Oh, hugely. Our little cop shop here in our little town is down something like 9 or 10 officers at the moment.
So,
Because there's more leaving than are signing up. And why
Yeah.
would you?
oh,
Why would you?
no one's got your back.
No one.
got your
Particularly,
fucking back.
particularly your hierarchy.
Yeah.
The
The law
one-
hasn't got your back. Your hierarchy hasn't got. We know someone who's been fucked over.
Yeah, 100%. Big time. Yeah, big time.
And we're thinking of you, mate, too. So it's hierarchy, laws, politicians. They're the people you need to fucking go to.
And the
There's only
problem
change.
is, here's the problem too, right? Everyone's got security cameras these days. So you invest in security cameras and it catches these little assholes. Faces, the whole friggin' works. 9 times out of 10, the cops know who they are because it's the same in a town our size, probably the same 20 kids that are doing all the bullshit. And even though you've got it on camera, it's still nothing.
Yeah.
Claim it on insurance.
Yeah.
You can make a complaint.
That's what the thing.
and then
Everything
claim it
goes
on
back
insurance.
to. It's why insurance
And you end up
premiums
paying.
are so
You end
fucking
up
high.
paying for it yourself, and your insurance premiums go through the roof.
But everyone's does. Because
But if
of that
you go
rule.
out there and you give the little prick a factory reset, which is what they need the most,
Yep.
you're probably going to get in more shit from your
shit.
cameras catching you giving him a factory reset.
Definitely.
Yeah. Me mate just had a couple rods stolen from his house. He's gone. He's figured out who it was
Yeah.
because the next door neighbor, they had shoes stolen, and then they seen the shoes at that house. So he
Yep.
went and door knocked and went, "Hey, where's my rods?"
Yeah.
And these 3 ranging from like 8 years old to like 10, 11 kids, they're like, "Oh, sorry." And then, he went and took them. They went to show him where they were,
Yeah.
gave him his rods back, said sorry, and that was pretty much it. And the rods are fucked. The reels, they're all,
Drug and sand and
just...
And once again, a lot can be said and achieved by a
Doing
factory
it yourself.
reset.
No, well, he didn't
Just-
even do anything.
No, I know, but he should.
Yeah, went and said,
Just that.
Where
'cause-
are they?
Yeah,
Yeah.
because that, just
Hey.
make some anyway. Anyway.
parents
You put me
don't
on-
care.
You put me in a
this
mood
way,
now.
We had the same thing happen. We left some cane knives on our banana tractor, and our farm is near a suburb. So these young fellas just decided to come over one day and grab the knives off the tractor and cut down half our plant crop.
You're joking.
And the only reason why we found out who they were because we drove along the road there to see if we could see anyone, and this kid was walking with a big bandage on his arm, and he's had and we pulled up and said, "What's wrong with you?" And he goes, "Oh, I got cut by a cane knife today. My mate hit me. He was on the other side of the tree when they swung through, hit him, and fucking nearly chopped his arm off." And I said, "Oh yeah, so where'd you get the cane knives from?" And he goes, "Oh nowhere." And then he walked across the road straight into a house. We walked into the house. So mate, do you have our cane knives there? Because they stole all the cane knives.
Yeah.
And he goes, "Oh, these things," and he had 5 fucking cane knives. This is the father.
You're kidding.
It was like he wasn't gonna bring them back. He's like, "Oh, these, yeah, no, here they are." No, sorry.
How much fruit do you lose? Like how many
Oh.
trees would they have cut down?
Probably a couple of hundred. Yeah.
Oh.
Couple of hundred trees. Yeah, plant trees. Yeah, and so this has happened, and nothing we can do about it. But the best thing was, old mate nearly chopped his arm off. All the other kids would have shit themselves. They never come back near our farm again because guess what? Old mate nearly lost his fucking arm there.
And what's worse still now is there's all these laws around being able to buy and sell things like cane knives and machetes and all that sort of stuff. So, it's going to come a time where if someone comes and pinches a cane knife off your farm and uses it in a crime and it gets traced back to your farm, you're probably going to get a please explain as to why your cane knives weren't securely locked up. You're going to end up with frigging firearms safes.
They're
on
actually
your thing
talking about that
just
now.
for
We have
cane
to
knives.
actually-
I know.
And
Anywho.
like someone said the other day, there it was an American police commissioner. The reporter said, "Okay, Mr. Police Commissioner, a lady stole one of your
I
cars."
did see that. I heard this. Yeah.
Stole one of your
Yep.
police cars and ran over 2 innocent victims.
Yep.
What? And the reporter said to him, "Why was that car left unattended?" And he just and the keys were in the ignition. And he said, "Whoa! Let's just pull up."
Yeah.
He said, "How about why did that person steal that fucking car?"
Yeah. Hold the right thing accountable.
Yeah. He said, "Well, why would that person just steal a car?" And he goes, "I will give you the reason why." And he pulled up her rap sheet.
Yeah, and it was
it just went
12 feet long.
and it just kept going to the floor.
Yeah.
And he said, "This is the reason why
Yep.
this person did this."
And correct me if I'm wrong. I think they shot her.
I hope so.
I think they did. I think that's
Fucking-
why the conjecture was. I think they blew
Yeah.
her away
Good.
because she ran a couple of people over and then tried to run a copper over.
Yep.
And they just went, yeah.
Yeah, fuck that. Run
Yeah,
that
yeah,
cunt
yeah.
over.
Anyway.
But yeah.
Anyway.
In saying that, that's pretty much my cunt of the week.
That's
and,
a
Yeah.
That's a valid cunt of the week. Oh, mine wasn't nearly as annoying as that. I just, when you get stuck in a queue, I was in a local supermarket, bought what I needed to buy, and I was trying to get out, and the self-service thing, which it shits me on another level anyway,
Card
the whole
only, cash
self-service
only.
thing. Oh, geez, me the shits. And I was trying to walk out, and this person was just in the road. You know what I mean? Now, that's a pretty wide gap
Yeah, it's
to
a
get
big gap.
through. Let's just say there wasn't much of the gap left.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, they were taking up most
Spatial
of the
awareness,
gap. Yeah,
but
none,
also
zero.
They were
Needed towing mirrors, And I said, "Oh, excuse me," and this person just stood there. I was, "Excuse me," and I said, "Excuse me, can I get?" "Oh, there's plenty of room." I said, "No, actually, there's not.
You fat cunt.
There's not plenty of room. You are taking up the space, and I need to get out. Can you move, please?" "What's that supposed to mean?" "Exactly what I said. You're too wide for this space. Move." And then everyone looked at me like I was an asshole, and I was like, "Oh, come on. I'm that dude in Coles now."
Should have said, you don't need to be in Coles.
But
You need to be on Coles.
when they get that wide, when they walk, it goes dunk,
Ooh, yeah.
dunk on the sides. It's like this part
big
shifts
waddle.
up and
Yeah.
then down.
You know what they call it?
It was like
two
that.
buffaloes fighting in a pillowcase.
Mate, it was this little pillowcase and big buffaloes. Let me give you the tip. Anyway, on that note, let's get out of here. And are we getting on the piss? No, we're not. I'm going
No.
home. I've got to salvage my kids.
I'm not drinking anymore, Daryl. Promise. I got the text today.
Yeah, and you got the taste an hour ago.
No, I had one beer. Sorry, Daryl. One, maybe two.
All right, so tune in, hit us up on the Insta if you've got any yarns that you want to tell.
Taxi cab confessional.
Taxi cab confessions. Indeed, we want to hear them. We want to hear the good ones. Shelving things, running from things, whatever the case may be.
Oh, everyone's done a runner.
Yeah, it's exactly right. Haven't we all?
You've ran from a taxi with the runs.
I've run. Yeah, anyway. All right, done. We're out of here.
All right.
Talk soon, beautiful people.